So this evening, as we just remember Jesus and the cross, I wanted to share with you kind of my reflection of the cross. And really, it all starts from the beginning. Just really kind of thinking about how Jesus really was committed to us. I know we just, for Palm Sunday, we had talked about that, but I was just really reminded again of just how he's committed to us. And we see that in Matthew 26, and just understanding, as many of us know the story, we have Jesus praying in the Garden of Gethsemane, and he is asking the Lord, please remove this cup. And he's praying, and he's humanly struggling with that. And then after all that, and I know the disciples were not staying awake either, eventually he said, it's time to you can sleep later and rest later, because it's now time for the betrayal. And we know that Judas came in, and there was just a specific part of just that exchange that really caught my eye. And it really resonated with me, actually. And so some of the context with Judas is that he had a plan all along to say, I'm going to kiss, and that is how you know who it is to be arrested. And then he goes to see Jesus, and he says, Rabbi, greetings, Rabbi, and then began to kiss him. And what was interesting about that, as I was just meditating and just looking at more of what scholars and commentators were saying, they were saying that Judas was so easily ready to call him Rabbi, but never once has he called him Lord. And so he acknowledges that he's a great teacher. He's acknowledged that he is a great rabbi, but he didn't recognize him as Lord. And so we see that, and we're like, wow, like he never calls Jesus Lord. And then the way in which he betrays Jesus is with a kiss, which is an expression of affection. And so we put all of those things together, and we know that what lured Judas was money. Like he was lured by other motivations, other things motivated him. And I've reflected on that because I feel like that's me. Like I am Judas. Like I am so easily able to be swayed. My allegiance could be swayed so quickly. Can it go from Jesus, my Lord, to Jesus, a great teacher and a good idea and a great idea? And I was just meditating on my own sinfulness and just how so quickly the heart can easily change and our motivations can sway at any moment. But then how does Jesus respond? Jesus knows the entire situation. And I want to read, it's a very short, just verse 50. It says, and then Jesus said to him, after he had called him great rabbi, after he had kissed him, as he was pretending that he was greeting and happy to see Jesus, verse 50, Jesus said to him, friend, do what you came to do. He called him friend. Like he called him someone who he knows and he cares for and he loves. He called him friend. And even despite the betrayal, and he was still loving and caring despite how he was feeling and what he was enduring. And I just see the commitment that Jesus has, because he could have easily said, I'm not talking to you. He could have easily just said, go away. But what he did was he doubled down and he said, friend. And in attempts to say that he still cared. You know, today, I don't know if you guys got a chance to read today's Bible verse of the day, but it was so poignant. Where it's John 15, verse 13. Greater love has no one than this, that someone lay down his life for his friends. And so even before the cross, even before he is right on the beginning, this is the beginning part, even right in this moment, as he's being arrested, he is thinking and he's calling people friend. When we know a friend doesn't betray, that would be very gracious. But we see the heart of Jesus. And I'm so grateful in my life because so easily, I don't know about you guys, but so easily my life can get easily distracted by all these other things. My allegiance can quickly waver. And so I see, as we think about his arrest, this is the first thing that I see in this account. But what actually drew me to this was even though Judas was about to betray, he's calling him friend, and he is so focused and zeroed in on what he is to do. Because in Matthew 26 and the rest of the accounts, it's actually mentioned twice that the whole purpose of what Jesus is trying to do, it says in verses 54 and 56 specifically, for the scriptures to be fulfilled. That he was so focused on fulfilling the scriptures. Some of that strength may have come from his prayers as he's praying for strength. Maybe I would imagine he got strength from that. Earlier in Matthew 26, we see that. But Jesus was so focused on fulfilling the scriptures, and he's so committed to that because he knows what's at stake. And the way he does it is very Jesus-like. Because Jesus could have fulfilled it in any way, but we see his true character here as we see Peter trying to defend Jesus by cutting off one of the guard's ears. And we see that, and then Jesus was like, Peter, what are you doing? Don't you think that I can call 12 legions of angels? 12 legions is 72,000 angels. So, and more than that, as Jesus said. But as we see this, Jesus is saying, I have the power to defend myself. I have the power to overrule all of this that's happening. And yet he's not using it. We are seeing his meekness on display here. He is being meek and lowly and humble as he's withholding that, as he is so focused to fulfill the scriptures and to go onto that cross to die. And he could have easily have done it in a different way, but he chose to be meek, and he also chose to be humble, as we see in the second way of seeing it, where it says that I was in the synagogue teaching, and all of a sudden now you're coming with these weapons drawn. They were expecting a fight, but Jesus wasn't going to fight. He left peacefully. And so as I just think about this whole process, I just think about He's doing this for me. He's doing this for us. Like he is so committed to fulfill the scriptures despite the entire picture of it all. That despite the fact that I myself am like Judas, that we are like Judas, that we can easily, and we have, and we will continue to betray in our hearts, some more obvious than others. And the way in which he does so, he is so focused. I think that's what just drew to me. That he loves me, he loves Judas's, he loves us. And it's in that love, that is why he was focused and committed to be arrested and to die on that cross. And so that is, I was reflecting, and I see grace, I see mercy, I see love, but I see someone who's committed. Like he is committed to each and every one of us to the point of death. And I think as I see this passage, as we begin, that's my reflection on the cross.